Welcome to FRCMedia News for Thursday, April 2nd, 2020. I'm Keith Tebow. We are now here at our remote studio, and I think we'll be here for the next few weeks for the time being to still provide you with our local news content that we've been providing you right along. On this week's show, again, we have more local reaction to the impact of the coronavirus here in southeastern Massachusetts. Up this week, how is our local justice system functioning under the impacts of COVID-19? We speak with District Attorney Tom Quinn. The United Way of Greater Fall River has become the one-stop shop in linking residents to the essential social services they need during this time of need. And we also talk about how the federal government is coming up with funds to help local businesses. We talk about how local businesses can get some of that money. We'll have those stories coming up in just a few moments. But first, let's bring in the digital news editor at the Herald News to talk about other COVID-19 issues of the week. We bring in Phil Devitt at the Herald News. Phil, welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Keith. I'm doing well.
Thank you for joining us in your remote location as well. Let's get right to it in terms of a couple of stories. And as we're producing this, we produced this midday on Thursday. So I don't want to get into the local numbers in terms of local instances of the coronavirus. We know that number changes daily. We can say that it's been tenfold plus over the past week. But I want to talk about some specific issues with you this week. Let's start with the Fall River Public Schools. They have been working remotely. Students have been teaching and learning remotely over the past couple of weeks. And Amanda Burke has a story this week on how they've been faring thus far. Talk about that.
Yeah, and so the big education news this week, right, was that Governor Charlie Baker extended the school closure to May 4th, which I think schools had been anticipating, but nevertheless requires some adjustment. We checked in with Superintendent Matt Burke here in Fall River. He tells us that at-home learning is happening. Most children are using physical packets that they were either sent home with or that were mailed to them. Others are doing online coursework. Adjustment counselors in the district are reaching out right now to students with no internet access. But they're having some difficulty reaching families, they tell us, either due to language barriers or a change of address or other communication blockages. So that's one challenge that the district is facing. But like a lot of districts across the state and country, Fall River's figuring things out as we go. The state isn't requiring students to learn new skills, but to hone in on stuff they've already learned in the classroom. And that's the approach that Superintendent Matt Malone is taking in Fall River. He is asking parents of Fall River school children to log their students or their children's activities and create a portfolio of sorts of work that they accomplish while they're home for as long as that lasts. The school committee is expected to convene on April 13th to discuss a potential pass-fail grading system. We're not necessarily clear if that would work for all grade levels. And then the other big thing, Keith, is it's still looking like MCAS testing is likely not going to happen. I know we talked about this last week. The U.S. Department of Education gave initial approval to the state's request to waive or modify standardized testing requirements. And now a bill is pending, but it looks like that's probably going to go away, especially with the extended closure, Keith.
Yeah, and I know that in terms of the school committee, they've actually continued to meet. I believe they had a meeting this week to finalize, believe it or not, the fiscal 2021 budget, with so much in the air. They're still moving forward, aren't they?
They are. There's still work to be done here. But I think just about everybody, they've had to modify how they meet. This was a video conference held on Tuesday, believe it or not, with most school committee members present. And so not necessarily clear how the April 13th meeting will work, but odds are with all of these social distancing guidelines in place, it might be the same kind of setup. And another thing to note, too, the grab and go meal program in Fall River is still cranking away. 9 distribution sites throughout the city. Families that need to feed their children are able to do so via those sites, and a bunch of dedicated people making those meals happen.
Yeah, and I know last week at the mayor's press conference, he was mentioning that Matt Malone was mentioning that over 30,000 meals at that point had been given out over the course of a couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks, and I'm sure that number is even higher this week. And speaking of food and stores, even though most of us are in our homes and still able to go out and do some shopping and grocery shopping, some local stores are starting to limit the number of people within their stores during any one time. Again, trying to abide by the guidelines of social distancing and not having a lot of people in their locations. I know Market Basket announced this week, I think other stores as well.
Yeah, we're seeing this at a lot of both, locally owned and chain supermarkets in southeastern Massachusetts and beyond, which, seems like a smart thing to do. Obviously, markets are considered an essential business with so many other businesses shut down. People need to eat. As a result, you can have crowds in these stores very, very easily, and that can be a dangerous thing. So Market Basket, just one of the stores instituting special hours for senior citizens, for instance. We published a story this week that notes that starting April 2nd, as we record this, all Market Basket locations are reducing the number of overall customers in their stores at any given time. So you might show up at Market Basket and have to wait at the door. There's sort of a new system in place. Before it was just special hours for seniors, but now they're really monitoring the traffic in the store all day.
Yeah, pretty interesting. And there still are those special hours for seniors when these stores first open early in the morning. But again, if you're expected to, go to the supermarket over the next few weeks, you may see some of the restrictions in terms of waiting outside until people come in and come out. And stores are normally having one exit and one entrance. So, stores sometimes will have multiple entrances. They're going to be limiting that to one entrance, one exit, so they can literally count the people going in. And I know that they're also adding some other safety measures in terms of wiping down carriages. I know a store I went to not only gave us a wipe to wipe down carriages, but also gave us plastic gloves if we needed them. So the stores are also stepping up and trying to be as clean as possible. And finally, Phil, for this week, we're going to have a story a little bit later in our newscast on how local businesses can start getting some money to help them survive, those businesses that have had to close in the face of dealing with COVID-19. The city is also stepping up with some money to help very small businesses here in the city.
Yeah, so we put together a story this week about something being called the Small Business Loan Grant Assistance Program, SBAP. And it's being instituted by the city, made up of a total of $400,000 in funding, which, you hear that figure. It's not necessarily an overwhelming amount of money, but it's money nonetheless for local businesses. Money coming from the Community Development Block Grant, the Fall River Redevelopment Authority, and also the Fall River Transformative Development Initiative, which we've reported on in the past. And so what we're being told by the RDA chairman, Joseph Marshall, for instance, is that this funding is for mom and pop stores. Places like the barber, the hairdresser, the local restaurant, small businesses that employ 10 or fewer people, salaried employees, and have been open for at least 2 years are eligible. So those are among the requirements there. Now, these the application process, I should say, for this loan program is going to open this coming Monday. And we have a link on our website, but I also want to make sure people know how they can apply. Applications can be requested along with more information by writing to sbap@fallriverma.org, or calling the city at 508-324-2662. Starting Monday again, application process will be open, and then the determination will be made about where this funding is going to go. But, have to anticipate, Keith, that there's going to be some significant interest in this, given how many businesses are hurting in the city right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Phil, thanks as always. Continue to stay safe, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Keith. You stay safe too.
Thanks. As we head for the break, I want to remind you that during our first break, we normally have a list of local job opportunities available from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Please take heed of what's available. What we're going to be focusing on is primarily opportunities in the healthcare field, which are really, really needed at this time. So if you're a healthcare worker looking for a job, please hang out with us. Join us during this break, and we'll have more information on that. We'll be right back right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Family Practice Outpatient Physician, HCI Metro Medic Walk-In Urgent Care, located at 427 Plymouth Avenue, has an immediate need for a full-time family practice outpatient physician to evaluate, treat, and help prevent illness and injury to adults and children. Job number 133-96450. Medical Receptionist, Primacare, located at 277 Pleasant Street, has an immediate need for a full-time medical receptionist to schedule appointments, answer patient inquiries, handle patient emergencies, and monitor stock and supplies at the facility. Job number 133-94428. Registered Nurse, St. Anne's Hospital, located at 795 Middle Street, has an immediate need for a full-time registered nurse to perform diagnostic tests, monitor, record, and report symptoms or changes in patients' conditions. Job number 133-93599. South Coast Health System, located at 450 William S. Canning Boulevard, is looking to fulfill the following full and part-time positions. Medical Social Worker, job number 133-45466. Clinical Risk Manager, job number 133-89231. Operating Room Technician, job number 133-91519. Nursing Assistant, job number 133-81022. For more information on these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Through these tough times, more and more people are in need of critical social services to get by. There are many local nonprofit organizations willing to help, and they're being organized by the United Way of Greater Fall River. Executive Director Kim Smith says local organizations have made it a point to come together in the spirit of collaboration.
We've really come together as a community, the nonprofit sector, our local government officials, statewide as well, business leaders and funders, and we've kind of formed what we're calling our own virtual MARC. And that is the Multi-Agency Resource Center, which is what they call a group that comes together to respond to disaster. You may recall that happened last year during the Four Winds Fire, and the United Way was a very significant part of that. So we're coming together virtually in partnership with the United Neighbors. So we have collectively called ourselves United We Help Greater Fall River, and we are the community action group that's kind of bringing all of those partners together to assemble information in a very organized and cohesive manner. There's a lot of information almost being a deluge. We're deluged with it every day, and it's hard to sort of decipher what's fact, what's fiction. We don't have time necessarily to check the sources. So that's one of the pieces. Bringing together all of the local information and then disseminating that in a way that's best for our public. We're also, that group is also trying to decipher who's doing what so that we're not duplicating effort, but rather we're coming together to create a stronger impact to assist our community and to do so safely. That is one of the priorities of this group because everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to sort of mobilize and get into action, but not knowing necessarily, the lifespan of the virus and how it, 6 feet, 20 feet, whatever the case may be. We want to make sure we're not doing more harm than good.
Smith goes on to say that the biggest resource for those seeking aid is to use the Mass 211 system.
Mass 211 has existed for quite some time now. It is a program offered by local United Ways for folks to access health and human service information by the simple touch of a button on any phone. They dial 211 and they can get in touch with an operator on the other side that is able to connect them with resources, information, et cetera, et cetera. On March 13th, Mass 211 was dedicated as the emergency response line for all health and human service inquiries, non-emergency response line, I should say, for all health and human service inquiries, COVID response information, health information. DPH has fortified Mass 211 with epidemiologists that are on staff to answer questions specifically related to COVID-19 health issues and treatment, travel, you name it. And so part of this group coming together is really encouraging all agencies to update their information in Mass 211 because it's very simple to use, and people are calling in that the increase in volume went from 400 calls a day to over 2,000 calls a day, skyrocketed, and really all related to COVID-19.
Smith reminds residents that those calling into Mass 211 may experience some delays. She recommends getting information from the website at mass211.org. With restrictions being placed across multiple industries, our regional justice system is still moving forward as best it can. Bristol County District Attorney Tom Quinn says his office is still working by conducting business remotely.
We're functioning. We're responding to everything. The courthouses basically are closed. The hearings are conducted over the phone. The judges are present in court, and the clerk, we are doing it via phone. So the hearings, whatever hearings are taking place over the phone, and in some cases, video conference for individuals who are at the jail. They can be put on the video conference like we're doing now, and the hearing can be addressed that way. We are responding to all sudden unattended deaths that we're notified of. Unfortunately, the overdoses, fatal overdoses, are still continuing. If we have a homicide, we're going to investigate it, but it's not business as usual for anyone, frankly, in the court system, or with a few exceptions anywhere in this state. So, I just saw the head of our state police unit here, excuse me, and the deputy, but they're scaling back what they're doing. They have resource issues.
There has been a call from local social justice organizations and state criminal defense lawyers to release nonviolent prisoners to control the spread of COVID-19 within our prisons. Quinn says although he's concerned about the spread of the disease to inmates, this action should not be done lightly.
There has to be a rational approach to this. It is a public health emergency, but the mass release of thousands of people is not the answer. I think some people can and are being released. My concern, frankly, is there is going to be an attempt to get many individuals out of custody who are properly there, who are very dangerous individuals. That's taking place right now. We have murder defendants coming forward to get out, serious drug traffickers, very violent people who've committed crimes that any reasonable person would say this person belongs off the street and in custody. So I'm very concerned about that. We have hearings every day here in the Superior Court that address that. I think if the average person saw what some of those hearings were, they'd be shocked at the facts. At a terrible case, child rape of a 6-year-old girl, the individual was trying to get out yesterday. As of that was denied, but we have to be on guard for this because it's not getting out. They may be saying it that low-level nonviolent inmates. It's a lot more to it than that.
With Congress and President Trump approving a $2 trillion aid package last week for individuals and businesses impacted by COVID-19, they'll soon see some money flowing locally. The Massachusetts Small Business Development Center is one local organization advising businesses on how to take advantage of that federal funding. Senior business advisor Cliff Robbins tells us the demand for help has been overwhelming and businesses need to be patient.
The survival today is all about cash. It's about conserving cash, getting cash, and living till when this thing finally does lighten up, hopefully June or July. This is going to be a short while, but it isn't going to come back that fast anyway. But 100% of what we're doing right now is giving people the knowledge we've gained only in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and we've even got holes in our knowledge, and to guide people to go where to go first, where to go second, and what the rules are, the basic rules are to getting and using the money that's available. The government has stepped up big time, huge, and we give them the guidance they need. There are certain steps that they need to take, and they need to know where to go. I mean, sometimes certain plans, the PPP, you got to go to your local bank. It's got to be a 7A approved SBA lender. When it comes to the EIDL, the Economic Impact Disaster Loan, that you've got to do directly online through the SBA. The EBL program, that's a bridge loan program, that's done with your bank. Quite frankly, I've been talking about the PPP program for, over 2 weeks, knowing it doesn't kick off till this Friday, but I got information and we got to be trained on it right away. So the program starts Friday, and most people, most bankers, people are calling their banks trying to make appointments for Friday or the next Friday, depending upon the organizational structure. And the banks don't even know about it yet, or they're not up to speed on it. So it's really a tough situation out there.
Businesses seeking the assistance of the Mass Small Business Development Center should first set up an appointment at their website at msbdc.org. We'll have more right after this.
Thank you for considering a homeless pet today. I hope you enjoy what you're about to see, and as always, please feel free to contact the shelter before coming down to make sure that the pets you're viewing are still available for adoption. We can be reached at 508-677-9154.
Hey, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Tyson. He is a Staffordshire Terrier mix. He is roughly 3.5 years old. He does do good with dogs. I do not recommend him being housed with cats. He would do better with older kids. He is very calm and laid back. He's more of a couch potato. Doesn't really care for playing with toys. He's very well behaved, gentle when he's taking treats. He knows a couple of tricks. He knows how to sit and stay. He knows paw. If you want to come down and meet Tyson at Forever Paws Animal Shelter, we are located at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts. So I know he'd love to meet you.
Today we have Sky. Sky here is about 3 years old. You probably can't tell from the video, but she is plenty thick. She does have quite the coat too. So a medium to long hair cat here. As you can tell, she's very nice. She has no problem being picked up. She loves to get attention, especially action around the ears. Yeah, she would make a good companion for most kinds of homes. She's good with other cats. I'm not sure yet about dogs, but as long as they're calm, that sort of thing, I think that she would do all right. She has an incredible fuzzy coat. It's very, very soft and plenty thick. It's actually quite amazing. So if you'd like to come down and meet Sky, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
Even though the United States has more cases of COVID-19 than anyone else in the world, countries in Europe are not too far behind. Our Denise Pumaguaye recently spoke with a doctor in Spain where there are over 100,000 cases of the coronavirus.
Ahora mismo hay un estado de alarma, no es tanto como un toque de queda, pero hay una restricción bastante importante a la movilización. Salir a la farmacia o a los supermercados y se puede movilizar gente que tiene al trabajo, siempre con un salvoconducto que tienes que presentar para que justifiques tu movilización. Pero ahora mismo solo están abiertos supermercados y farmacias. Y hay mucha gente que está teletrabajando, que trabaja desde sus casas. Los proveedores también están haciendo lo suyo, están trabajando, están haciendo lo que les corresponde. Si vas a salir a comprar al supermercado, pues tienes que hacerlo y se están tomando medidas. O sea, no pueden haber 400 personas dentro del supermercado, se va eso como contabilizando, hay que tener una cierta distancia y hasta ahora se está llevando así a cabo aquí. Esta cuarentena primera, que ya la cumplimos, se ha ampliado hasta el 11 de abril, pero seguramente se prolongará aún más. O sea, ten en cuenta que cuando un paciente está curado, tiene que por lo menos permanecer en cuarentena aproximadamente 14 días más. Según las últimas cifras que han dado los epidemiólogos, en teoría se estaría entrando este fin de semana y la próxima semana en el pico más alto. El contagio es muy rápido y por eso es que satura el sistema de salud, porque el contagio es tan rápido que hay muchos enfermos y hay poco espacio y poca de todo para poder atender a tanto paciente en tan poco tiempo. Pero hay que tener en cuenta que la mayor cantidad de muertes se da en personas de mayores de 65 años, pero hay también gente joven sin ningún tipo de patología crónica que ha muerto por este virus. Entonces, si se le hiciera la prueba a todos los ciudadanos que presentan algún tipo de síntoma, las cifras serían muchísimo más altas. Pero sería más beneficioso. ¿Por qué? Porque lo han hecho en Corea, me parece. A toda la gente le hacían pruebas y el que daba positivo tenía que quedarse recluido en casa. Como médicos, los que les puedo aconsejar es que así sea la cuarentena dura, tienen que permanecer en casa. Y no romper la cuarentena porque si no siguen expuestos. Porque como ciudadano puedes tener mucha paciencia, tener mucha iniciativa, mucha imaginación para con los niños, porque sí, si para un adulto es duro, para los niños también es más duro.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. We invite you to continue to check out our website, frmedia.org, for the latest local information on COVID-19. Also, check out our Channel 95 program schedule. We are producing special coronavirus informational programs that can be found on Channel 95 as well as on our website. This program can be seen Thursday and Fridays at 6 p.m. And of course, continue to visit our website, frmedia.org. For all of us here at FRC Media, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week. Stay safe, and we'll see you next Thursday.